The Auvergne region has often been likened to one big cheese platter. There's Cantal with its creamy flavours, Gaperon with its melting texture, and Bleu with its full body. A trip through these hills always tickles the taste buds. And you are spoilt for choice. The region represents almost a quarter of France's cheese production. And the best way to try one is with a big glass of red wine and a piece of fresh bread.
There are so many different cheeses, so ultimately you can just eat them on their own. It's of course just a matter of personal taste. You can always add a touch of sweetness with some jam, pickle or chutney. But in this area, they're best enjoyed on their own.
Cheese has always had an important place on the table of French kings. Louis XIV, for example, had a soft spot for the Saint-Nectaire. It's barely 5 o'clock in the morning and the sun still isn't up. We've come to Beaune-le-Froid, some 40 kilometers from Clermont-Ferrand. Outside, it's a rather nippy 3 degrees Celsius.
Hello.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Caroline.
Am I in the right place for the milking?
Yes, that's right.
Saint-Nectaire has been made here for decades. Every morning, the 150 cows wait for Thierry to begin the first milking of the day. This milk is the key ingredient of the famous Auvergne cheese. These Frisians produce nearly 15 litres each morning and evening. That's 4,200 litres of milk each day, all of which goes to making Saint-Nectaire. Thierry knows each and every member of his herd.
I can give you the cow's number just from its udder.
How so?
It's just a habit. This one is number 3192, the first one was 4600, this one is 2521.
Do you like one cow more than another?
Yes, of course. When you have a cow that kicks you, you don't like it too much. When a cow gives you lots of milk, you prefer it.
While these ladies enjoy a relaxing brushing, their milk is already being sped off to the dairy with not a second to lose. If the milk comes out of the cow's udder at 39 degrees, the temperature should never fall below 33 degrees.
If it's too cold, it won't curdle and will be a lot softer. The cream will come out much easier and so the cheese will be less creamy. If the milk's too warm, the cheese will be a lot harder and it will be much more chewy. So the temperature must really be spot on for the cheese to be smooth.
In this fat, Caroline has already added an enzyme called rennet, which allows this greenish liquid, the whey, to separate from the curd. The solid part is now scooped up and placed in a mould and pressed to make sure each cheese is the same size. Each one is then rubbed with salt before being given a label.
The salt helps to preserve the cheese and give it taste, and the label's for traceability to show it's a real Saint-Nectaire.
But the real secret behind the success of the Saint-Nectaire lies here under the Earth's surface. Hundreds of cellars have been built into this land, whose soil is also a haven for lichen and moss. For over a century, Saint-Nectaire cheese has been matured behind these doors and out of sight.
These are natural cellars that have been dug into the volcanic rock over 100 years ago. They were all manually carved out. The cellars are vaulted so that they're stronger, given that the rock can be quite soft.
Under this volcanic rock, the conditions are carefully monitored, with the humidity maintained at 80%. The temperature, meanwhile, has to be kept between 10 and 12 degrees all year round. Before it can be tasted, the cheese stays in this dark hollow for at least 28 days. Patience is another vital secret behind a good Saint-Nectaire.